That should be good. So I'll give you an introduction
Yep.
and I'll pull up the slides and then I'll let you know if there's any questions to answer throughout like this time.
Okay.
But everybody here, appreciate you guys popping on. I'm here with Daniel, one of our full-time teachers who was one of our earliest students 4 years ago, who now runs one of our BTB programs. So if you guys are here, you guys can hear me, just type in yes in the chat and we'll just get going teaching Daniel's three-step daily income strategy. So in the chat, type yes if you can hear me, everybody. I appreciate you being here. We got a great day here with Daniel, and I'm pumped to get going. So let's see, we got 44 people on. Awesome. Kim, Jacqueline, Elbreeze. Awesome, everybody. Appreciate you popping on. And last week we interviewed Isaac and Jake, and I would recommend you guys go watch that interview because they were people that built their success this year through the pullback. And so everybody's sweating the pullback right now, and they're questioning a lot of things they're holding or doing. But this can make you into like having the best year of your 2026. So go back, watch that interview. Those guys both set themselves up for like million and multi-million dollar years, even after having a 50% drawdown. So can you imagine being down 50% and then making a couple million? So we're always sweating like the moment, but we forget the big picture. And there's so much opportunity still in the market in my mind. I think there's a lot of stuff possible. So Daniel, appreciate you being here. We're gonna have your interview here today, and I'm gonna pull up your slideshow, and you're welcome to do like a little short introduction. Say hi to everybody.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Matt. My name's Daniel. I've been with Market Moves Matt now for, I guess you can say almost 5 years now with this Discord. Um,
Yeah, and at this point, everybody should be pumped up because we sell options, Daniel. We make 5% in a month when we sell puts, and we kind of morphed the system to create a daily income stream of 5%. So if you do it correctly, it's not perfect, but you have the ability to now sell options on a daily time frame, and it's good for small accounts, it's good for large accounts. It's good to diversify and be in cash at the end of the day. And this is a really cool approach that we're excited to share with you guys here. So I want to go through and kind of let Daniel talk about his journey as a trader, and you guys can see he's probably the most relatable guy you're going to listen to that we've interviewed because he started at a couple grand and he's become full time from that. And you could see his Robinhood screenshot of a $360,000 all time profit. So yeah, Dan, you want to talk about just that path and transition over the years? Like, what has it been like going from a small account to something like this you're managing now?
yeah. So in 2020, uh, I just kind of was wanting to get in the stock market. Wasn't sure what that looked like, what that is. I've always been intrigued by it until it was after I got laid off. I was with typical corporate America. I was with the company for about 10 years. Worked your way up. Had your 401k, everything you can think of. I had three divisions underneath me. And then we got bought out by a bigger fish, and then COVID happened at the same time, which was pretty difficult at the time. And I ended up getting laid off on the second round, actually on April. And so it was kind of tough because the following month in May, my second child was due to be born. So, typically it was kind of, scary, nerve-wracking. What are you going to do? And so 2020 really was the turning point. It was really a blessing in disguise for me as I was at home, with my newborn. and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I thought it was Forex, but I just that really wasn't it 'cause I didn't understand candlestick patterns at the time. But I guess as I was
Well,
searching
so
YouTube, go ahead.
sorry, so you lost your job
Yeah.
and you just said, "Hey, I'm gonna research the stock market," or have you been using it before? Is it like you need to make it work, so you were trying it for the first time?
Yeah, I just all I had at the time was just a little Robinhood account and I just had stocks in it, like little dividend paying stocks, nothing big, just kind of messing around with it. I didn't even know what an option was until 2020. And
Yeah.
when I was researching, everything, that's how I came across options and I came across your channel. And it got my curiosity, and I was wondering what an option was. And the very first video I saw was you talking about credit spreads. That was the very first thing that I saw, and I watched it, and it just a light bulb kicked on. I understood what a credit spread was. You knew what your max win was, you knew what your max loss was. You knew that as long as it closed below this strike for a call credit spread, you would win. If it closed above this strike for a put credit spread, you would win. So just that basic knowledge right there, I thought that was simple enough. And so
Yes.
went
So
from
that was
there.
like the first thing you saw credit spreads, and you needed to make things work because you didn't have income.
Right.
And I think, yeah, so you started with how much money doing credit spreads. Talk us through like what a day to day looked like when you were trying to make that work as a smaller account trader.
Sure. And so I had just a couple of thousand in my account, nothing big. I mean, when I mean by couple, I mean literally like $2,000 or so at the time in my account. And so I studied the credit spreads over and over and over. And then once I got the hang of it, I was my very first ticker I was trading was SPY, SPY.
Nice.
And and then in 2020, it only had three expiration dates. So I knew I could get three trades in. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was the expiration. And my goal was I would play $100 credit spreads, little $100 collaterals, and my goal was to try to collect at least 10%. And so if I could just win $10 a pop, that I was good with that. And then once I got comfortable, then I started increasing, my positions until the point where I was building up $100 a week. And then as I got more and more confident, $100 built to 500 a week. And then I just kept compounding my account.
Yeah, so in the chat, everyone watching, listening, are you guys at a four-figure count, five-figure count, six-figure count, or seven? Just type it in. We're just curious if this strategy, who we're talking to. Basically, Daniel is teaching you guys like he started with two. He was working his way up to 5,000 with that just by doing credit spreads. So if you do have a small account, this is going to be pretty incredible listening to how he put this together. And we've refined it together as a community. And this is kind of what we're sharing with you today as well. So, um, anybody five figures, six figures, seven figure, just type it out for us and we can see where you're at. Question in the chat, Daniel, we're doing zero DTEs or were you swinging like one DTEs?
One DTE, and then some were even like three to five. So it was a mixture.
Nice. And so you've been building the account. It looked like it was maybe like 2 years building. And 2022, you hit full time like income, like enough to not have to go to work. You were at the time you said you were working part time or
Yeah.
supplementing.
Yeah, after the over the summer of 2020, I started insurance adjusting again, chasing storms and trading. So by doing that, I was able to, go back to work for a little bit and then start putting a little bit of money into the account as well to get it big enough where I can have enough to trade full time. And then in 2022, when I was able to match my old salary from my old job when I got laid off, I knew right then that I could do this. it was a no-brainer for me. And so I had the conversation with my wife and told her I want to pull the trigger and go full time and see where it takes us. And so
That's
that's what I
awesome.
do.
So you, once you hit 2022, you just
Mhm.
want to be at home doing this full time. And
Mhm.
how did your strategy morph in those 2 years? Were you still only doing spreads, or did you kind of graduate to something else?
I graduated to two other strategies. So after I got better with spreads and then also got to work with you, we were perfecting the spreads even more for playing the short term and long term spreads, for like 30 DTE so you can collect premium. And
Yeah.
then I ended up expanding over to the flywheel strategy, and that helped quite a bit. And then went right into leaps, and leaps was a pretty good game changer from
In
there.
2022, you were doing leaps.
I did a couple small ones with you,
Yeah.
and nothing too big compared to most people's accounts, but it was my way of easing into it. And then when I saw that the right timing on leaps, that was also a game changer moment as well, where things would jump quickly.
Yeah. And so, as people watching,
Mhm.
as you guys have four-figure accounts and five, once you start getting to like six-figure accounts, that's where you want to de-risk because credit spreads are great for growing. They're great for hitting more trades in a week, but leaps and CSPs are like the bread and butter of what we do. So you have to be really, really intentional to scale your profits almost to those strategies over time. But we want to teach you today, at least how that first strategy got Daniel off the ground and how maybe people listening could get off the ground. And we're currently, I can pull it up here. Um, we're currently building out a credit spread scanner on Chipotle Money. And this is something I do believe in still using at even a higher account level because you could play both sides. For example, if Apple's bearish or bullish, you could do call spreads or put spreads. So I think there's value in spreads long term for some way, some approach for some amount of capital. And it's important to diversify strategies like Daniel's been saying. So I think the most incredible thing is he grew from small account to big account. But then his big goals and like the big things you want to accomplish in life came from the leaps at some point. So 2024, I mean, you were just on a war path for for things here. Do you want to explain like what happened there, the types of trades and everything?
Sure. So in 2024, I still did spreads, got into several good leaps that turned into five-figure profits on the leaps. And
Do
of
we have
course,
those here? Oh, here's
the
SMCI.
SMCI did it twice within a matter of 3 weeks. I hit both of them were a little over 10,000 each, and that was
Yeah.
in the same month. And so, and I had a couple other leaps too that did the same thing. And so it allowed me to get more out of debt. And so it allowed my wife and I to get a bigger family home. As you see in the picture, that was our house we bought last year. And then got to pay my truck off this year on Leaps. You and I worked together, did the Pepsi and ETHU. They both ran.
Yeah, 20,
Yeah.
24K and 16K.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. My goal was to try to get about, make about 35,000 out of that. And I was going to pay my truck off because my goal was to get as much debt free as possible through 2024. So all I had to do is just focus on the new house and that's
Yeah.
it. And then upgrade our family card. And in that picture, you see, truck's paid off, new family car there. And so,
Yeah, I mean what I love about Daniel is he built from, very small account size to doing everything you'd ever want. And he's not like a guru where he doesn't have a YouTube channel, he doesn't have a, Instagram and Twitter like I do. This dude is just literally cranking the three strategies we really like. And he's been doing it the most consistent out of anyone I've ever met. So this guy is your dream person to look up to if you guys are here. I mean, he's living his dream life from just trading. It's incredible to see. And yeah, you guys see me do stuff, but obviously I coach, so it's like there's some mixture there. But he has grown his strategies, graduated to leaps, and leaps have really pushed that last needle into where he wanted to go and what debt he's paying off and what car he's driving. Max is in the chat too. Max Lipsit is another dude who teaches with us and mastered our system and got his dream car for his wife this year with leaps. So it's pretty insane when you put this together. So today we want to just talk about together the three-step process. So selling spreads on a daily time frame is a powerful opportunity. And eventually you want to lower your risk and maybe do it off a 30-day expiration. And that's where it's more passive, it's less risk per day, and you're going to make 10, maybe 15%. But it's worth figuring that out later. And the three steps we're going to teach today is the setup, the execution, and then the scaling. So how can you scale like Daniel, going from a 2K account to 5 to 50 and 500K? So credit spreads, we're going to talk about the benefit of them versus day trading. Because if you want to make daily income, I would not recommend day trading at all. I wouldn't recommend buying options. I wouldn't recommend trying to buy stock because timing the market as a beginner is the hardest mission ever possible. So here's the difference of a credit spread. When you have the market trading and you see a good entry, so like this white line here would be considered a key level. We hit this key level and it looks like we're going to hold on this pink candle. So most people would try to trade this candle at a key level and move the market, try to make money on the upside. They'll get stopped out. And then what happens is the move happens in their favor and they would have made money. What they don't realize is you could have sold a credit spread, not gotten stopped out. You would have made money and the play like would have tested you and you could have still been okay. Because there's this buffer between a trade and an option selling trade that allows you to be wrong and still be right. And I'll let you expand on that too, Daniel, because you've been cranking a lot of these.
Yeah, so doing the day trading versus credit spreads, I got into basically trading credit spreads on futures. So I can do zero DTE. And like you said there, you'll see your entry there. You think that's the entry of that candle sweep, and you would have been stopped out if you're trying to trade, just futures and day trading. But the beauty about a credit spread, you can see your the area you want to play, and with that buffer, you can actually play a lower strike and depending on how wide of I call it your wings, how much collateral, if you're playing a 500 or $1,000 collateral, so your sell and buy position has that extra buffer you're going to need. And so that gives you where if you have a false breakdown like this pattern is showing you here, yeah, it may get close to testing your area, but you're not going to get stopped out like if you would be if you're trading, straight futures or something. And then
Yeah,
it would have ran. And then theta decay would have kicked in your favor very quickly. And you could be exiting out a spread. Sometimes you can exit out within 30 minutes, and sometimes it might take all day depending on how the market's acting. But with spreads, it gives you that bigger buffer where you don't have to be spot on all the time.
yeah, yeah. And that's like the learning curve you don't have to go through. Like if you want to be a proper trader, it's going to be years and it's going to be so much tuition you pay. So think about Daniel. He didn't have a job, he had a kid coming. If he was day trading, he wouldn't be here today. He would have had a account blow up, restart, try again day trading, do it again, do it again. He was able to become full time faster because he didn't day trade. He was selling options and he, as a beginner, had a high win rate, was profitable because of that. And it's because of this one factor I'm trying to teach you guys is you can be wrong and be right. And this trade would have been stopped out if you were trying to trade it. But if you sold options properly, you still get paid. You still made money from this type of reversal setup. So it's beautiful. Uh, you do need a margin account, Papa Bear, correct? Margin accounts are for level three options. This is what credit spreads require. Same thing for every other strategy. Let's say you're buying leap options. You need to make money from movements. And if it doesn't move in time, you pay for the time decay. When you sell, the other side of that is if you want to be safer and you're trying to take advantage of a bull market, we do this thing called selling CSPs. So, for example, if we were to sell a CSP on Bitcoin, you can make money with a 79% chance of profit all the way up to 91. So selling options just gives you a chance to be profitable without knowing anything. You just have that win rate already in your favor. But if you were to buy the options on Bitcoin, you might not have timed this bottom perfectly, this most recent bottom, and you're probably waiting through a loss as it comes back up. So the issue with buying anything is just you need to be perfect. And being perfect is not easy as a beginner. So the next thing is big difference between selling CSPs and selling credit spreads. Basically, 5% is what we shoot for when we sell CSPs. For example, if we sold a Bitcoin CSP, we'd make 4 to 5% in 30 days. This is a standard CSP we look to make and put on. You can make option selling income on a daily level. It's available for credit spreads and it has the same win rate, 80 to 90%. It has the same return, but you can just do it daily. So it's a major unlock. I'm not saying you guys are going to be perfect and you're going to instantly just win for the rest of your life. I'm just showing you the same strategy. I've held a 2 year, 98% win rate with the students. You can have a similar type of approach on a daily time frame. I just can't emphasize enough. We're having a lot of success selling puts monthly. The statistics are just the same daily. So we're going to go into a little bit more of the technicals here. But these are some examples of how we run this strategy in the BTB, the Boost Trading Bootcamp. Typically, we're looking for a 5 to 10% return. 6%, 10%. This is kind of on the capital we're risking. So if we have $10,000, we're gonna make $1,000 usually off that. And what's your goal, Daniel, if you're out for a credit spread? If it looks good, how much do you risk and how much do you look to make?
Yeah, if I'm doing a zero DTE, I'm usually risking or I'm playing anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. So I'm looking to make 500 to up to $1,000 a day or every time I do play it, if once the system sets up properly.
Yeah, and these are all your screenshots, right? So
Yeah, those are my.
yeah, as you're teaching the BTB and as you're putting on these trades, you're letting these go worthless. Like you let them sometimes run to the end of the day.
Yeah, if I saw the pattern set up perfectly and it runs away from my strike, no chance of reversal and it looks good and I have the time of the day to watch it, so to say, then yeah, I'll let it keep going. But if I don't want to watch it all day, then I'll put a limit order and close it and don't be greedy and then take my quick, 5%. My main thing is just make sure I make at least $500 a day. That makes it worth my while.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Mhm.
And some students, like we bring in the BTB, will come for leap options, and then we'll get them excited and they'll actually be cranking spreads. So Steve's an example. I think he hit like maybe three winners in a week and had no interest in this strategy and kind of very happy now that he's learned it and has this skill. So I want to teach you guys the three steps here today for selling credit spreads on a daily time frame. Number one is setting up the trade, and it's very simple. Key level plus your confirmation plus entering the trade. So your key level is the most important thing I ever use for credit spreads. And Daniel is the key level master. Daniel's key levels are put out like two, three times a week. You could see here, these are his Russell key levels. These are his SPX key levels. And these are where you place your short strikes and your break evens so that you can make sure you make money while having the markets respect the levels ideally. So what we mean by that is, let's say this is your key level here at the white line. You want to sell a spread that's underneath this level. And if you do that correctly and we support that level, you get paid. And in this scenario, we broke the level and we didn't hit the actual strikes. So that means we still get paid. So the opportunity is, if you break a level, as long as you don't go through your short strike, you can make money selling options. So that key level being drawn correctly is so important, but the confirmation is so important too. Figuring out with the key level, what's another reason why we put on a spread. And so when you're drawing your key levels, Daniel, and you're looking for your confirmations, what needs to align for you to put on those trades?
Well, I'm looking for basically, supply and demand, and so I can see what levels that's being tested or supported, and if I can see how that's handling there, and then I would like to try to also time it where you can catch that reversal candle with a sweep possibly, and along with a low RSI if I'm doing a put credit spread. So I like to try to catch a low RSI as well. And if I can catch all those together, then I feel pretty confident you're going to get that reversal. So then I will enter a put credit spread. And then from there, you can decide how aggressive you want to be on that move. And then just the
Yeah.
opposite of the call credit spread, you want to get a high RSI rejecting off of a key level. And then, that's where you want to enter your call credit spread.
Let's try to see, let's just look at the markets here today. Did it come into any key levels you had drawn today?
We did have some test ones for sure today.
I would say I look at this as a key level,
Yeah, I had that
usually
level as a level marked.
in here. And I can walk you guys through, let's say this is your key level. This is the area you think we're not going to go through. When you look at this, Daniel, are you trying to put your trade short strike at the beginning of the gap or the end of the gap, usually?
I like to go at the end of it to kind of give myself a little bit of more room because I have seen sometimes you get that false, break. So I like to go a little bit past it in case you need that extra.
Yeah. Okay.
And it depends on what the
So,
premiums are paying too, right? So you gotta make it worth your while too.
yeah, and that's like the next step of what I want to show you guys. So, executing, profiting, what does that look like? I want to show you the key levels we're just looking at now. If it makes sense, if it's a viable trade based off of these levels with the gaps. And there's a level, maybe this level up here. We have 618 and then 621. And if we were to set up a triple Q bull put spread, basically how this works is you sell a put, you buy a put, and then you try to collect the premium as the options go to zero. Because if you sell options daily, they're going to zero sometimes in an hour or 5 minutes or 30 minutes. Sorry, since we're going higher, we're going to do a bear call spread. So what I typically do is I drag my strikes out of the money, and the one closest to the price you're selling, the one furthest from the price you're buying. This is a spread that can make 10% return. So this, you're buying like 10 contracts for $1,000 or sorry, 10,000 collateral,
Yeah, yeah, it's
10,000.
yeah,
So like 100 contracts would be what you do, Daniel, right?
correct. Yeah,
If you did this.
yeah, if I was doing the triple Qs, yeah.
Cool. So this break even from the spread is the line you make money, lose money. So what we do with our credit spread system is we make sure that number is close or above our levels. And this would be 620 if we were to sell this option expiring. Let's say we woke up tomorrow, we entered the trade, we could get maybe $1,000. But as you can see, it's not above our levels. So it's kind of in the middle of them. And what would you do in this scenario, Daniel? Would you be more patient, wait for it to go to your over your higher level, or would you kind of tackle something like this?
I would be a little bit more patient before I enter it to kind of see how if it's going to continue a strong trend upward, and then or catch that reversal. So I'd be a little bit more patient because I would like to be over that the gap part that you have there, and just be a little bit more patient. And then at the same time, watching the RSI in for that candle sweep reversal at the same time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Daniel's giving some of the technical secrets, but we look
Sorry.
at candlesticks. Basically, candlesticks will help us gauge if there's a shorter term reversal. We look at RSI. RSI will help us gauge if there's a higher chance of a pause or a top. So those things add on to our entry model. And the most important thing I want you guys to take away from today is number one, learn how to draw a key level. Number two, learn how to line up your spread break even to the point where it's above it. And then the last piece to figure out on your own is when to get in. You know, what confirmations, stochastics, MACD, who knows what your confirmation is, when to get in. That's the last piece of the puzzle. Because as long as you can draw a level and line it up, you're pretty much golden to know if it's a good trade or a bad trade. If this key level was under both levels, obviously it doesn't make any sense. But if it's above all the levels and we have our entry confirmation, that's our green light to take a trade. And if you do that correctly, you collect $1,000 in a day and you tackle 10 of those trades together, that is your whole risk of a losing trade. So 10 grand. Meaning if you had one loser, you're going to wipe out your 9 winners. But with a 87% win rate, and if you are patient and you have a better systematic approach for entering, you could push this to like 95, 97, and that way you stack your wins over your losses. So any trading strategy is about stacking wins over losses. It's not about being perfect, but this is the most near perfect system you can use on a daily time frame. So credit spreads, we want to look for that 90% chance of profit. You're welcome to go zero DTE, get that premium every day, and 10% return is the goal, just like this trade we set up here for the triple Qs if we're trying to short the market tomorrow. And we do see the key levels there. The biggest thing next is we're trying to use consistency to reach a goal, whether it's making 5K a month, 10K a month, 100K a month, who knows? But you could take a very small account, and if you just stack it over time and you don't do anything stupid, you're going to be much closer to your goal. Let's say you had $1,000 account. You can literally do one spread with that. And if you could do one spread for the next 50 days, 50 trading days, you'd have a 1K account go to a 10K account, which is a $500 per day money, like income. That's Daniel. That's what he does. 500 bucks a day. And that's only off a 10% return. We'd still see spreads able to make, sorry, it's five, but we see the ability to make 10. The spread I gave here is 10. If you move it a little bit higher, that's seven. You move it a little bit higher, that's five. And the chance of profit goes to 94%. So it only gets higher if you take less risk and you look for less daily income. But the point is, even a 5% compounding growth could turn 1 to 10, leading to a $500 a day. And then a 50K account could turn into 500K if there's obviously no losing trades, which could yield $30,000 a day. The numbers get silly, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's about how you manage your system, how you manage your losers, how you manage your entries and your emotions. So it's not as simple as just sell a spread, make money every day. So how dialed in do you think you are and patient, Daniel? Like every day, if you sit down and you look for your spread, like what is that process like?
Yeah, I like to catch the opening morning to kind of see what it's doing if we're testing any kind of major levels. Um, Sometimes I'll even do an orb, opening range from the orb to kind of see how it's going to do. And then I'll give it, the first hour and a half, with the most volatile of the market, kind of see what it's doing. If I could find a quick, good entry, then I'll take it. If I'm seeing something that I'm not really sure if it's too choppy, then I'll sit on my hands a little bit longer. And if I don't see anything, then I may take a break, go do something,
Well,
come back.
I guess just like generally, you wake up, plot your levels. Like,
Yeah.
how long are you waiting sometimes for a trade to show up?
I have waited up to 2 hours sometimes. If my day allows me, I'll wait up to 2 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense. And are you sometimes just walking away at the 2 hour mark if there's no trades?
Yeah, I could, I don't want to sit there and get sucked in where you feel like you have to force something. And so I'll walk away, set alerts, just in case if it has a pullback area that you might be interested in, I'll set an alert and I'll walk away. And if my alert gets triggered, then I'll come back or take a look. Or if it doesn't get triggered, then there's tomorrow.
Yeah, I like that. So I got some questions here. Um, let's see. Someone asked, can you go with Delta blindly or do you need key levels?
Uh,
That was neat, Nathan, actually.
Yeah, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you know your deltas and your Greeks well, like, I mean, sure, but I like to do key levels on top of using your Greeks, your deltas, if you like it. Um, Me personally, I'm a key level trader. I trade supply and demand, and that's what works for me, and that's what I've done. So I kind of stick with that.
Yeah, I think that's super important is that key level. Because if the market does go against you, it does save you a lot of the time if you can have that level.
Yeah.
What percentage of your portfolio do you do for credit spreads now, Daniel?
I'm about probably about 5 to 7% of my portfolio is I have dedicated to spreads.
And I think we have like, yeah, I think your trade history is on here too. We had like 52 trades, two losers, 50 winners in the past like 3 months, right? From you doing spreads.
Yeah, yeah, I'm now updated. I'm 54 and 2 now. So
Yeah, I'm gonna pull this up and I could show you guys just the reality of this.
Mhm.
Basically, we track all this stuff in the BTB. Daniel's been pushing this spread system for us and helping the students learn it for the last 3 months, since like August, early August, no, June. So 54 trades, two losers, and every day we're looking for that 5-10%. So off of all these trades, even with the losers, it's about, what was the amount collected for that total, Daniel?
For the whole 54.
13,000.
Yeah, out of the call
Does that
outs.
sound about right?
Yeah, the call outs with the group, I'm up with the group a little over 13,000 in profit. And then my personal count, because I've been doing some of this before the group, it's up 23,000. So,
Yeah, so just this strategy in the last 3-4 months added like 20, 30K to your P&L.
mhm,
Yeah, and you're only using 10, right? So that's like 200% on your cash.
mhm,
So it's a riskier strategy, but the payout obviously with the risk is higher if you do it correctly, even with a couple of the losses.
mhm.
So the big thing, everybody, is just like it's important to understand like this is the number one approach to being consistent on the daily shorter term time frame. And we've been tracking this stuff. We've been doing this stuff for months and months and months, and we're just trying to hone in and get better on it as a team. But Daniel's live example of early in his career, he did this, getting him to where he is now. But he's also been doing this where he has a big account and it's also added 20 to 30K in profits. So it's a powerful system if you're curious and if you're interested in figuring out how to do something daily. So any questions here in the chat? Do you need 90% win rate to be profitable? That's a good question. I would say you need over, you need to hit 95, 96, 97, 98. And so inherently, if you sell this put option to make 5% return, you already have a 94% win rate. So inherently, you don't have to do anything special. You don't need to look at any key levels. Inherently, the statistics say you'll have a 94% win rate. And so your goal, if you want to, we push for 10% setups. So obviously that win rate's lower if you wanted to push there, but you can enhance your win rate from being selective, from understanding your setups, and from really validating the play more and refining your system. Could this be programmed? Sure, this could definitely be programmed, but do you want to wake up to a massive loss and not knowing what happened that day? Buy one, sell one, profit lies in between. Yes, that's correct. So every option here has a price. When you sell it, you collect that money. And when you buy an option at the same time, you reduce the amount you can collect. So you always keep the difference of the options, basically. That's kind of the bonus of that. You guys have any questions for Daniel? Cool. All right, guys, we're gonna give you the last offer for Black Friday for November. The best sale we're ever gonna launch in Market Moves history is ending in the last like 5 days here. So we opened up leap coaching. But what I never mentioned was we have credit spread coaching together with it. So these strategies are what we call Boost Trading Bootcamp. And so this month is the only month where you can get every single system created. So if you want to sell CSPs, if you want to buy leaps, if you want to day trade credit spreads with Daniel, you can have all three of them inside this one coaching package for this month. So the apply button is here. I would suggest hitting it. I would suggest applying because, again, you don't know how cheap or how affordable this program could be specifically for you. We do have some options that could make it attractive depending on your situation. But the option selling program, we've been dialing that in for 2 years. We have every single trade tracked. It has 2 years of data, 98% win rate. And if you like selling CSPs, that is the best path for you. That's included with this bonus this month for the BTB option selling combo. As you can see, the CSPs, you're probably wondering how we did in this correction. We actually didn't have a losing trade. We got assigned one trade. It turned around like 8% profit if you held it today. So even in corrections, we've been pulling in about 2 to 3 winners a week on CSPs. In the leaps are suffering, I'll be honest, but we're setting ourselves up for the best 6 to 12 months for leaps. So the last offer to have all three coaching strategies in one, and we're going to have the last 5 days to kind of interview people. On top of that, I'm developing out a software to only enhance those strategies in your decisions. If you want to sell a put, it's as easy as going on Chipotle Money and picking the top 5 tickers. If you want to sell a credit spread, it's as easy as going on Chipotle Money and selling the top 5 tickers too. If you want to play against the market, play call spreads, we have scanners for that now. If you want to buy leap options, we now have scanners for leaps with large caps, small caps, AI bubble stocks. We're going to be very strategic on how we do everything, and we're only going to make this better. And for a bonus this month, you're going to get that software for lifetime access if you get accepted in the program, including the phone app. You can log onto your phone, see what our traders are trading. You can track their trades, follow the best traders in the program, and learn from them. So all of this is lifetime. We're never, ever, ever going to offer lifetime software again. So this is the major kicker bonus that just makes it a no-brainer. Because what if you could just wake up and be told which puts to sell for the rest of your life? Like that's a no-brainer, right? And then the last, oh man, the stupid bottom of this thing. Again, the button is below if you guys do want to apply. And the last bonus, what is it? Oh yeah, Daniel's system. I didn't talk about this in the previous stream, but the credit spread system is something we're going to be aggressively building out as well, along with our leap system. So if you're interested in what 5% looks like per day, if you're interested in the streams to see the key levels, trade with Daniel, get the trades, you can now be in this program too. So you have three separate systems, depending on what you like, what your goals are. You can morph them all together like Daniel did and like some of our top students do. So BTB, 5 days left. I'd love to have you guys. We have our November sale closing down, and we'd love to bring you in if you're interested. I'd say expensive. Someone said it's freaking expensive. Expensive is a weird statement, honestly. Expensive is trying to figure it out over years on your own and follow the wrong people. Expensive is trying to pay $200 for a Discord per month or 100 or 50 bucks, and they have no strategy. And they're just blowing your money down the drain, kind of gambling. Expensive is taking the longer path of figuring out something. So like Daniel got lucky He sold options on day one. Not many people make that mistake, or not many people are that lucky. Most people make the mistake of following the wrong people, getting in the wrong strategies, and having to restart, restart, restart. Imagine again if you never had to restart and your account could look like this. So the faster you grow your account and get your account moving higher and higher and higher, the faster you reach your goals. So think about this. You're joining a Discord, you're day trading. You go from 1K to 5K, but you're just gambling. You got no system. So they take you down. You restart. You got to go back up. You're at 5K. You're at 5K. And you just keep restarting because not many people on the internet teach anything valuable in a coaching setting. But if you never restarted, look where you are 5 years from now. You're probably where your goals are. So do you want to be not in your dream car, not in your dream house in 5 years? Or you want that freedom, that flexibility, that opportunity? Trust me, I literally hop on calls and I'm like one call away from changing someone's life. I don't do one-on-one calls often, but I have calls where people, I'd say one thing and they listen to me. And 5 months later, their account is 3x more. And I know if they didn't listen to me, it'd be flat. So trust me, the value of a coach, it's invaluable. I see this all the time. One thing I say changes the projection of someone's future forever. And I'm not trying to pump myself up, but I literally coach people every single day. I've been on 4 or 5 coaching calls today. I did the same thing. I got people out of situations where they were going to be screwed forever. The structure of their portfolio, the holdings, their mindset, little things like that. There's no, you can't put a cap on that ROI. You guys are funny. Um, now I'm getting some better comments. Daniel, talk about the value of a coach because I don't coach you as aggressively, but you listen to everything I say, if even if it's in a group setting.
Well, absolutely. No, coaching is very, very important. With it, you even look at professional athletes. You don't go off and play whatever sport, basketball, football, without having a coach. You got to have a coach, especially if you want to take this serious. You wanted to have life-changing situation. I did. I wanted to not work for the man anymore. I wanted financial freedom. I want to be able to travel, enjoy more family time. And so for me, it was worth joining Matt's Discord and every class that he offered. I just learned to invest in myself. It's no different
But
if you
we
go to college. So it's invest in yourself and get as much knowledge as you can out of it.
but we had like maybe not even like 5 one-on-one calls to
Mhm.
really hammer out situations and strategies. But I remember like a couple of our calls were like directionally changing for you. Like the one call with SMCI, right? We were
Yeah.
planning out SMCI.
Yeah, that was my very first serious, I guess, one-on-one with you. I was ready to take the leap and go a little bit more aggressive, a little bit bigger on leaps. And I remember I called you on it. You taught the system, the setup, and I saw it one day when I was sitting at my computer, and I remember
Yeah.
screenshotting it, sending it to you. Am I seeing this correctly? And the next day you replied to me and you're like, yeah, you're seeing it. And so I just turned right around and entered in it because I saw it and and I entered it twice. First time caught 10,000 plus profit going up, and then it hit a rejection key level. So I took the same knowledge but just reversed it because it was just rejecting. So I turned around and shorted it. So um, yeah, I mean, if it was with the coaching that you gave us and the learning
And
that helped
here's
us.
for the people wondering like if it's worth it to have a coach, you also ask yourself, is it worth it to have our trades? Because like when you say you paid off your car,
Yeah.
like where'd you get those 2 trades, right?
Yeah, I got them directly from you. So, and then we broke it down. I mean, we charted it together and we got a game plan. And that's the importance of a coach. You get a game plan, right? And you figure something out. I called you and I said, "Hey, Matt, I got a goal. I want to pay off my big work truck that I had, and so I want to pay it off and I need to make X, Y, Z." And you said, "Okay, let's get a game plan." And we did. And when that opportunity presented itself, uh, we coached it. You coached it to me, and then I entered it. And
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah, because John, one of our teachers, came up to the six-figure award at Vegas, and he just said, "I just took Matt's trades. That's how I got up at here." A couple of people said that in Vegas. Um, the trades have been killer. How do you view like leaps have an amazing payout, and there's these periods where they're not paying, right? So do you still have faith in the leaps over the long run? Like, how do you view the leaps when they're in the tougher markets?
The way I view it is, check out the charting, see where our technos are at. Um, One of the things that help to recover some of that is I do play poor man cover calls against them. It's a more advanced system that, again, our coach taught us and helps us through those situations. I'll do that during the, not so fun times during the leap. And then meanwhile, while you're waiting for it set up, you're still hammering away, focus on the flywheel and credit spreads during that time. So I'm constantly moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. Got some other questions here. Keep dropping questions, everybody. And if you got time, just drop a quick application too, if you can. Someone's asking, what would you say is the success rate of your students? And it depends on the strategy and their position size. But I work from strategy down, right? So low risk to high risk. So we have vetted our whole system for years, and it's at a 97%, 98% win rate for CSPs. Like just in the past 60 days, you could have made 17%. Uh, the market is so good now. I've been personally coaching people that have made four in a week because like you just enter on the dips, exit on the rips, and the market's been paying really quick. So I can't vet if you're going to come in and be successful because I can't guarantee if you're going to take a trade. I can't guarantee if you're going to take the right position size, if you're going to exit on time. Like some people missed this trade because it was earlier in the day and there wasn't a live stream. So you might have missed 3%. NVDL we entered yesterday, we got out today. So it's a 1 day hold, 3% return on your money. But I can't guarantee like you would have saw that and exited on time or entered on time. So yeah, I can't guarantee anything and I don't know how how able you are to follow things. And I can't guarantee credit spreads are going to be followed correctly either. I think people can win when Daniel's just streaming because Daniel calls out a key level. Daniel lines up a trade and they put on it on their own and they win from something we didn't call out. So calling out stuff and winning is a good short-term goal to make ROI on your investment, but a long-term goal is hop on Daniel's stream and the dude's putting in hours of work to just line up key levels. Like you have the success map, just use it at some point. So that's the key is kind of getting you guys to take ownership and put those pieces together. Appreciate you joining the experience. Chipotle money might be lifetime if you got the BTB included, I believe. The trades are announced in the Discord for everything. We have spreads, leap options for the BTB, and then CSPs for the CSP program, the option selling program, as well as credit spreads. We just called out a swing trade. Let's say NVIDIA, we wanted to make 10% over 30 days. Guess what? We woke up to 5% on this overnight. And the beauty of a credit spread is even if you swing it, you're still making more. So 5% is more than three. So you level up your returns from spreads. And if you can do them on a shorter time frame, you can recycle them a lot more. Any more questions while you guys have us? 5 minute time frame. Uh, 5 minutes good for like in the morning, and then I usually switch to the 15 or the 10 by the time the market's like open 2 hours. All right, guys, I hopefully you have a great Thanksgiving, good 2026, and have your best year yet. If it's with us or if it's without us, we'd love to see you guys succeed. Daniel, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
everybody here say thank you as well. Daniel is the man, he's the icon of growth and success. So look up to him and learn from his journey. It's a wild one and it's just getting started. A lot of big things ahead. I can see it. All right, buddy. When I hit exit, it's going to stop the stream and stop the Zoom. So I'll see
Thank you.
you in the Discord.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Daniel.